So first it was REDNOTE, and we saw that you all were hiding this from us. Now it's DeepSeek, and we see this incredible technology that you have. What else are you hiding that we need to discover? Like, I want to know, like, what's next. Tell me what's next that you all just haven't told me about. Like, I thought we were friends, and you guys aren't telling me about all this cool stuff. I want to hear what else. Like, what's the other amazing, unbelievable app? You know, DeepSeek is #1 in the App Store now, replacing ChatGPT. So first it was REDNOTE, and then it was DeepSeek. I want to know what's the third. What's the third and fourth and fifth?
Congratulations to Nova for reaching 100亿. Yes! I'm so happy. The show deserves it. It's a great show. I'm so excited. Yeah!
在美国，今天将有人去看哪吒2了。
这些基本上妖王，这我最擅长。
超爱，但不知道怎么说啊、关注我啊、教我怎么夸我说的不好，对不起，我说的不好，超爱，谢谢。
小红书。
Ni hao, everyone. I just got out of seeing Ne Zha 2. I thought it was a really good movie. I thought it was a lot better than the first one. It was very interesting. I feel like I learned a lot about Chinese culture watching both Ne Zha 1 and Ne Zha 2. I think I definitely preferred Ne Zha 2. I thought the story was a lot more interesting and the visuals were just a lot more stunning. I hope more people in America give it a chance. It was a really
中国朋友，大家好，我刚才看哪吒2，我想分享我的想法，但是我的中文水平不是那么高，所以就是我需要用英文。Okay, I really like this movie. Thought it was fantastic. First off, the visuals were amazing. Everybody said it's like new technology that they use to get the special effects with the water and the CGI and all that. I thought it was amazing. Like, I thought it was dope. It didn't look like a typical Disney or Pixar type CGI. Like, the animation was very unique, and I appreciate that. But more importantly, story and the characters. Like, that's why everybody watches a good movie. That's why a movie is good, is because of the characters and because of the story. And I knew absolutely nothing about Ne Zha outside of the fact that I watched Ne Zha 1 like 2 days ago. And I'm like, okay, seems cool. I thought the first one was fine, but the second one, I get it. Like, I get it. It's about rebellion against the hegemony. It's about a person that's saying it doesn't matter what everybody has planned for me. It doesn't matter what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do what's right. And what's right to me is determined by me, and I don't care what nobody else thinks about it. And I like that. Like, that's a good attitude and spirit. And the story really held up. And I really, really liked how he had to go through the different levels of society. Like, he started with like the groundhogs or beavers, whatever those things are. Like, he had to go through that. And then he went to the higher level of like the cool water guy. And like, they kind of alluded to how bad this was when the water guy lost his son. And it was just a really good story as far as trying to paint the picture of whose side are you really on, who are you really fighting for. Like, you're just going to fight for the sake of fighting because you're on that side, or are you going to actually look into yourself and decide whether or not what you're doing is righteous? Now, I usually don't like the big allegories for a movie. I just want to enjoy something. But this time, I get it. And I think it's especially potent because it's Chinese people really sharing their story. Like, I've seen a lot of Hong Kong movies, like Jackie Chan, Jet Li, all those movies, like, they travel well. But I've never seen a lot of mainland Chinese movies come on this side and really have success. So it's really interesting to see, you know, the different motifs, the different styles, the sense of humor that mainland China has, because it's very specific. Like, it's different, and I appreciate that. So I'm really happy that Chinese people can get a movie that they can get behind, and I get it. Like, that spirit, the rebellion, the fierceness, the fight. Like, I loved it, you know? it seemed like it was like a kid movie at first, but when you really think about it and get into it, like you can see the societal mirroring of it. It was definitely a dope movie. So, 我是非常快乐。我刚才看这部电影，谢谢你们告诉我看这部电影，我非常喜欢哪吒，谢谢。
This is the best animated movie I've ever seen in my entire life. I honestly think this is much better than the Disney cartoons because it's not just a simple cartoon for kids. It has an interesting plot and it literally tells about difficult situations that are happening in the world right now. And I mean, I've been living in China for almost 8 years and never have I ever watched anything or like discovered anything about Chinese myth before. And this cartoon made me realize that I have to learn much more about Chinese culture.
I watched Ne Zha 2 and I have to talk to you guys about it. I, first off, am not okay after the scene where Ne Zha's mom was holding him. I absolutely lost it in the theater. Ugly cried in there. But it's not just a tearjerker, it was really, really funny. And also, amazingly, the characters had development. I'm so used to Western movies like Marvel, where the characters are so flat and boring. Like, they're either 100% good or 100% bad. But these characters were more like real people, more like me, who have touches of good and touches of bad in them, touches of yin and touches of yang. This movie is breaking records left and right. It just surpassed Jurassic World, and I would not be surprised if it keeps surpassing other movies. And the best part about this movie is that it was made by Chinese people. This is not a Chinese movie made by Western people who don't fully understand the Chinese culture. No, this was made by the Chinese, for the world to see how epic Chinese mythology is. And this story is exactly that. Epic. Here's a little tip for my Western friends. You can watch Ne Zha 1 for free, so watch that before you go watch Ne Zha 2 so you know what's going on. Also, I wanted to let you know how much my ticket was in China. It was under $5 for 3D. For 3D. If you haven't already seen Ne Zha 2, you should run, not walk, to your nearest theater because it
I'm at the movies and I'm here to see Ne Zha 2. This is a movie that kind of came out of nowhere for us in the States because it has now become the highest grossing animated movie of all time. The first movie in China to ever make $1 billion, and it made $1 billion just in China. It came out in America this past Friday, Valentine's Day, and it's also doing really good here. Now, this broke news in a lot of the film circle yesterday because of how much money it's been making, and it's now beaten Inside Out 2. So I was awfully curious about it. What's so good about this movie that it's making this much money so quickly? Disney has also been the box office titan for animated films for a really long time, with DreamWorks and Illumination also being at a close second, but never really getting to the level of Disney. But now this movie from China has just beaten all of them. It's pretty crazy to witness, so I was awfully curious. I watched the first Ne Zha yesterday, and I had a pretty good time with it. I thought it was a really solid film, and this is the long-awaited sequel for this movie that came out 5 years ago. My theater is also practically sold out for this showing, so I'm glad I got my ticket when I did. The question is, though, is this movie good, and does it deserve that high number of being the highest grossing animated movie of all time? And possibly making $2 billion by the end of its theater run? Let's find out. All right, that was really good. I'm actually blown away by how much fun I had watching that movie. So I thought the first Ne Zha was really good. I thought it looked incredible, but this movie just blows that one out of the water. It's compelling. It has a beautiful score. The animation is so pristine. It has a twist that I did not see coming, and it's funny. This movie's hilarious, actually. The ending, the third act, is just completely mesmerizing. And with the success of this movie, I can definitely see this being a big franchise in the future. From what I've read, the first movie had a budget of 20 million and this one had a budget of 80 million. And considering it's nearing $2 billion at the box office worldwide, I don't see why they would stop here. It seems like they are building to something. I don't want to give any spoilers away as to what that is, but this movie looks like it's just the beginning for this series. And I want to keep up with it. I want to see more of this. Sacrifice is one of the heaviest topics of this movie, and this movie handles it so well. It's very emotional as well because of that. Just completely compelling all throughout. I had such a good time with this movie. And right now, it's probably one of my favorite movies of 2025. I see a lot of potential with this series, and I'm excited to see what they do next. Disney definitely does have competition now. This movie is incredible. And if they're pulling numbers numbers like this, who knows what they'll do with the third Ne Zha. So, have you seen Ne Zha 2? If you've seen it because of the big box office success that it's had, what did you think of it? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, hit that follow button for more content surrounding movies, and I'll see you.
从来生死都看淡。
You just gonna be Chinese? But why? But you're Mexican.
No, I don't want to be Mexican.
Why not?
Because I don't.
You only wanna be Chinese.
壮和老天对着干，我命由我不由天，小爷成魔。
小红书。
But do you speak Chinese?
Yeah.
Let me see. I want to hear you say something in Chinese.
I only say shisha.
Shisha?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
我是想你们 I only say that.
Oh, okay. Maybe tomorrow.
Okay, so I just finished that movie, and I think that's got to be it in the top 10 soon. That was really good. Animation was awesome. I chose a weekday morning on purpose to take my team to watch Ne Zha 2, because there wouldn't be many people there. So this movie here in China, at least, didn't have any subtitles, English subtitles. So it's a good test for me to practice my Chinese, because there will be a lot of new words, like 父王对不起你啊. Oh, 莫怪. So there's two parts that I really like. First of all, the humor. You know, and then sometimes the artwork is beautiful, right? Like when the tree covers over the bowl, right? And then, oh, sorry. Beep, beep, beep. Then the tree blooms and it's very beautiful. You know, it's just very gorgeous. Lots of gorgeous artwork.
Ne Zha 2 is nothing short of a revelation. A film that redefines what animation can be. It's easily the best animated film I've ever seen, and I am not being hyperbolic when I say that. And it's no wonder it's already shattered box office records in China before even hitting international screens. In an era of rush sequels and profit-first projects, this film stands as a testament to true artistic care and ambition. Visually, Ne Zha 2 is a masterpiece. The animation is jaw-dropping, with every frame meticulously crafted to feel like a living painting. From the vibrant landscapes to the fluid dynamic action sequences, the film elevates the art form to new heights, immersing you in a world that's both limitless and breathtaking. The action is equally phenomenal. Every battle is a high-stakes, meticulously choreographed spectacle that keeps you on the edge of your seat. The choreography is so precise and expressive that the clashes feel not only thrilling, but emotionally charged. While the humor occasionally leans a bit childish, it's more deliberate and well-paced than in the original, balancing the heavier moments without undercutting the film's overall impact. What truly sets Ne Zha 2 apart, though, is its emotional depth. The story tackles weighty themes, resurrection, destiny, and the struggle for self-acceptance with a raw honesty that resonates deeply. It examines how power, perception, and the control of narratives can shape our lives, all while weaving in a profoundly moving exploration of family, regret, and unconditional love. I found myself genuinely moved, even shedding tears during some of the quieter, more introspective moments. Ultimately, Ne Zha 2 is a groundbreaking achievement, an animated epic that delivers thrilling action, stunning visuals, and a deeply resonant emotional journey. It's the kind of film that not only entertains, but also lingers. If you haven't seen the original, do yourself a favor and catch it first, then dive into Ne Zha 2 on the biggest fucking screen possible. This is a cinematic experience you simply cannot miss. It's out right now. Go see it.
So last night I checked out Ne Zha 2 at my local theater, and I kind of just wanted to talk about the experience a little bit. Like, I do want to touch on the movie as well, for sure, but I really want to talk about the experience because it was kind of special, to be honest with you. So Ne Zha 2 is a sequel to Ne Zha. I'm probably butchering, actually I know I'm butchering the pronunciation of that because it's said many times in the movie in a heavy Mandarin accent, and it does not sound like that. But
whatever. Sequel to Ne Zha, which came out, I want to say like 5 years ago or so. It is a Chinese animated family adventure fantasy epic. That's like the best way I could describe it. And I did like that movie. I wouldn't say I loved it. It had a little bit too much, I guess, potty humor and stuff for my taste. A little more childish, I guess, than I would prefer. But, you know, oftentimes with movies from another country, the cultural humor and cultural just differences don't translate as well. So I feel like that was kind of the case with the first one. And when I spent most of my day off yesterday kind of going back and forth if I was going to go check this one out. And I kept checking the show times, and they were like all sold out, which is really not common for my local theater. I don't live near a metropolitan area, near a city or anything like that, quite far from it, to be honest with you. In fact, I was quite surprised that my theater even got this movie to begin with, let alone to be checking showtimes that were 2, 3, 4, 5 hours out and they were getting sold out. It's very unusual for my theater that traditionally does not have a lot of sold out shows for any movie. So that was interesting. And, you know, looking into it, this movie is on track to be one of the biggest films of all time. And I said films, not animated films. You can go and look this up. This movie, barely being released in any international markets, like just in China alone so far, I believe, is nearing the top 10. Like, it's coming up on like Jurassic World, Inside Out 2 and stuff like that. Huge movie. And obviously, if last night was any indication, it's doing pretty well over here, because I went to this movie at 9 o'clock on a Sunday in a theater that traditionally is not very busy, and even my showtime was completely sold out. This movie is 2.5 hours long, and people were bringing their families to this movie at 9 p.m. I didn't get out until almost midnight. That should give you some indication as to how big this movie is. Now, when I went in, I looked around and I was the only American person in this theater. It's not often that I see this many Chinese Americans, just Chinese people, in theaters in this area. I could tell this was something special. And just the vibe of the theater, everybody seemed to be really hype. Like, it's very clear and apparent to me, even more so after being in that theater, that this is a cultural phenomenon. This is a movie event for China. And I can only imagine that, you know, a lot of the Chinese Americans that were in the theater last night have family and friends back home that are probably like, you got to see this movie. And I bet they were worried that it wasn't going to be released in theaters around here and they wouldn't have the opportunity to see it. And I bet when they realized, oh, look, some theaters are actually getting it, they were probably really hype and like, we got to go see this. Because I was even looking at showtimes later in the week, Wednesday, it's Monday now. I was looking on a Sunday, I was looking at Wednesday showtimes and stuff, and they were getting filled. It was really special, honestly, being in a theater where I could tell this was something big. This was their Avengers, you know. This was, they were all speaking, you know, in their native language, and I didn't feel alienated. Like, I felt welcome being in there. And I should say that more than probably your average American, I am more exposed to this kind of stuff than most. You know, I have a deep love for Chinese film, particularly Hong Kong cinema from the 80s and 90s, martial arts. Like, it's imbued in me. I have a deep love for that stuff. So I am not, this is not totally foreign to me, whereas it will be to others. Other interesting things I would say about the night was that it had double subtitles, meaning it's in Mandarin language, but then it had, I think, another dialect of subtitles, another Chinese dialect, and probably Cantonese or something. And then under that subtitles was the English subtitles. Took a little bit of getting used to, I will say, but if you can get past that, I didn't have an issue, other than the translation at sometimes being probably a little too literal for the English subtitles, but you know, you can use context clues, it's fine. Now, to talk about the movie, it's pretty great. Much like the first one, in a lot of foreign films, there is a lot of mythology and legends and stuff that are probably commonplace and common knowledge in China that aren't over here in America. And that can be an issue here and there, but not really, because I'll word it like this. There are times where I might not have understood exactly how something was happening, maybe even why certain things were happening, but I always understood what was happening. I could follow the story. That's the best way I can word it. I think it improves on everything from the first movie. It's darker, it's more serious, more adult, and the animation has come a long way. I think it's on par with anything that we're doing here in the States, really, as far as the animation goes. Stylistically, it reminds me kind of Rise of the Guardians, if you've seen that movie. But I think we've come a long way even since that. It's a lot more detailed. The particles of water in the ocean, the scales on the dragons, the flame effects, all really rendered very well. And I can't really praise the action scenes enough either. The choreography with the fights, everything's really cool. Like, just really cool to see, especially on the big screen. That leads me into my next point, which is the action of the finale. I mean, the finale of this movie is just awesome. It's like 40 to 45 minutes of a just battle, almost nonstop. Really, really cool. Reminds me at times of like Final Fantasy Advent Children, if you've seen it. You know, fights in the air and elements and stuff. Dragon Ball-esque even at times. Really, really cool. I was really engaged at the end of this movie. I think if you have the chance to go see this in theaters, you should. I think you should see the first one if you can. There is a tiny recap of the first one in the beginning, but I still think you should watch the first one. Just keep in mind while you're watching it that this movie is definitely more mature, and the sequel, and it's a much better film. So, keep that in mind. What a great experience. I really am glad I decided to go. I felt welcomed in that theater, even though I was definitely a foreigner, so to speak. If you can catch this in theaters, I recommend it. If you're into this kind of stuff, fantasy, animation, epics, if you don't mind reading subtitles, I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching.
So I have just got back from watching Ne Zha 2. So look, I had no idea about this movie. I haven't seen the first one or anything like that, and I was like, you know what? I'll go watch the second one. I'll go watch it. Why not? It's Chinese animation. Now, I don't know if it's based on a game. I don't know if it's based on a novel. I don't know what it's based on. But that doesn't matter because it is animated and it's freaking spectacular. It's so freaking good. Holy moly. I want to watch the first one now. I'm invested. This movie got me invested in this series, man. I want to know more. It's brilliant. So the lore, the world building is unfreaking believable, man. You have these dragons that they really dive into. You have this world that is above everything. It's like almost like heaven in a way, where you have these immortals and how to become an immortal. It's all this beautiful stuff. You have the demon orb, you have the spiritual pearl and what their roles are. There is so much lore that is explored in this movie that is just spectacular. It creates this world, this fantasy land of pure imagination that makes you just want to dive into it, just makes you want to be in that world. It's absolutely incredible. The characters are brilliant. This character right here, Ne Zha, is absolutely brilliant. He is brilliant. When you watch him to when he transforms, this is obviously his transformation. He transforms into this. It's badass. It's just awesome. That transition, it's about, this character who is a demon who's trying to save someone, but in the process, something happens to his family and now he's out for revenge, and how does that work out? It's really, really done really well. The other person that is next to him, that is the spiritual pearl, fantastic character as well, but man, the freaking fights and the animation are absolutely on another level, man. When you get to the final climax of this movie, you have dragons fighting, you have these beings fighting, you have that. When he and the other guy go at it, like the blue, the reds, they just mix so well. It is freaking spectacular, man. The action is freaking superb. It was just, I was sitting there, I was like, yo, what? How have have I not known about this? How did I not know about this? It is so freaking good. If you have a chance to see this on the big screen, Ne Zha 2, go and watch it. I'm telling you right now, go and watch it. You will not be disappointed because it's got everything anime fans love. It's got great story, great characters, great lore, great world building, phenomenal fights. It's got everything you want, man. And just go and watch it. Trust me, go and watch it. If you have seen it, let me know your thoughts.
So yesterday I went to the theater to watch Ne Zha, and I wasn't sure if I'd understand the movie at first, but it ended up being so good. There were a lot of deep themes in the movie, and the storyline was incredibly captivating. You've got to go see it if you have.
I just watched Ne Zha 2 based on my followers' recommendations, and guess what? It was amazing. Today I want to film a video in English because Ne Zha 2 is basically showing overseas now, and all my friends from overseas, if you have a chance, go to the cinema and watch it because you will love it. First, I want to talk about the production. In China, we have this term called 将信敬盛. The level of details in the animation, grand visuals, everything was just on spot and super unique. I think I can even compare these cartoons visuals to Avatar, if I may. Even though they're from different genres, the production standards are freaking amazing. Plus, you will see a lot of Chinese traditional culture in the movie. Second, the character development is incredible. It's not just the main character who shines, even the supporting characters have their own development scale. And the villain, when you see things going from his perspective, you understand the motive. My favorite character is definitely Shang Gongbao. Lastly, the story is both hilarious and full of plot twists. By the end, I was like crying non-stop. In the end, when Ne Zha said, 因为我们年轻，所以不知天高地厚, I don't even know how to translate this in English. Just wow. So don't stereotype Chinese movies just for the kung fu and Jackie Chan. From the animation perspective, Ne Zha is on the same level as Disney, from my perspective. And from the storytelling point, I think it's so much better than Marvel. Ne Zha is shaking up the animation world. I definitely hope to see more Chinese masterpieces like this game and this movie. So my foreign guys, if you have a chance, if you have some time.
你好. I just finished watching I finished watching Ne Zha. Can't pronounce it. Cried my eyes out. So freaking amazing. That was such a good movie. Everyone who said that I should drive 2 hours to go and watch it, yes. And now I want to watch it again. I was the only person in the theater. I was sobbing hysterically. I was yelling at the screen. And that movie was so good. That was so good. And now it is dark, and I have to drive home, but that's fine.
All right, it is raining. I am on my way to watch Ne Zha 2 in theaters, and I'm ready to cry. Pockets are full of napkins, and I think they believe it's for the food, but it's definitely for the crying. Yay! And for the moment of truth. So now that I'm home and out of the rain, that movie was so good. I won't have any spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen it yet. But the graphics in the last 5 years when the first one came out have improved so much. I really, really like how they incorporate a lot of Chinese symbolisms like the lotus, and the tree was beautiful. And I cried like a baby, of course. Of course I cried like a baby. I went to the movie alone, and I'm glad I went alone. There was only 3 of us in the theater, and I'm pretty sure that I was disturbing the people in there because I was like whimpering. But I'm so happy I went. So I guess I'll wait another 5 years for the next one. It'll be a great watch. Thanks, guys. Bye.
从来生死都